Okay.
And I'm doing this in a different way than I do on campus because I realized that recording to the cloud through the community college services is great. It's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
The You just click the button and you don't have to do anything. You just say okay, and then you go away, you go home, and then X amount of time later, I get an email that has the link in it. And it's like, oh, this is super convenient. And I didn't realize this because this is the first semester that I've been doing the recording to the cloud bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sorry, I distracted myself. At the academy, what I had been doing was recording it to my computer, dropping it to YouTube, sending the class a YouTube link. And so what that means is that those recordings on YouTube are there. They're still there. And like I said in the class, you don't have to subscribe to my channel or anything. I don't really care. But if you do, you can see all the special effects stuff that's on there. And so what I'll do is see if I can route that out. I'm going
Okay.
to put that in the chat. So I'm just going to sign into my YouTube channel. All right, so I don't know. I don't usually do this. So I guess these are all my videos, right? And this is from my son's graduation. So my guess is that that's storyboard, storyboard, storyboard. So this is all storyboard. There's an effects thing right there from May. Yeah, so this is from so this is an interview this week. So this is from the academy, right? And if I'm thinking about this correctly, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it into the chat. And you should be able to go see that video. And then you don't, like I said, please, you don't have to subscribe to the channel. But if you go to that link, you should be able to see all the other effects stuff that I've done for my academy students. So before I do anything else, let me post that same link in the classroom area. Under discussions. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. All right, tonight's the 22nd. That'll go to the end of May. All right, so that is there. That is in the, hey. That is in the discussion area of our class. So if you should be able to click on it and just go to this video. And in May, I was still running an effects class, and you should be able to then click on all the other ones. We do a bunch of things in that class that we don't do here just because that one's geared just for special effects. Okay, so having said that, what I think I'd like to do is start with the fire. So let me go back to my Finder. I have the smoke queued up already, but let me see if I can find fire. No, that's not going to help me. All right, I think that the fire I did for you all in class is on the computer at the teacher station there. And instead of me just like routing this out, I think what I'd like to do, because I have a feeling that it's on this drive. And it's under. Oh, it might be in Toon Boom. That's okay. Let me see.
Is it harder to find files on your computer at home than it is in on the
Well,
computer?
no, it's just that I had a bunch already queued up today, but I didn't want to start with fire, so it's just that I hadn't pre-looked for it, but that's okay. Let me take one more second.
Okay.
29. No. Oh, maybe here. 5. No, that's weird. Classes. Yeah, I don't know where that fire one went, so let me cancel out of this. So one thing that I would like to do is point you all towards my Pinterest channel. And this will be new. The Pinterest channel that I had posted in the class for you all earlier, very first day of class, was the storyboard link. And so I don't know how many of you accessed this, but there's just some really good stuff on
Wow.
here.
No, I've not seen this yet. So this is all for like
So I can.
tips on storyboarding, or
So right, I invited you all to see this board, and I believe if you go to the discussion area, you can see that I have Pinterest link right here at the bottom. And so that should take you right to that board. That should take you to the storyboard link, right? So what I'd like to do now is give you all the link to my effects board.
okay.
So, and this one I had made specifically for the Academy, because I'm like the only one to teach their special effects class there. And so let me invite all of you. Nope. How do I do this again? I forget. Share. Copy the link. Going back to our discussion area and adding a discussion. This is going to be FX, Pinterest, FX. Available from today. Beware the Ides of March. And all the way to the end of May. Okay. Again, so that's on record. And this takes you right here. So there's lots of good stuff in here. And, we're only doing fire and smoke and pixie dust. So one thing that I could do, which is a really good idea, is that I had commented on a submission to Laura, I believe, just about handling the pixie dust, and there are a couple of jumps in here that really help with pixie dust. One of them is this. So I'm just going to open this in a new tab so I don't lose my place. But this is great. Just the idea of Peter Pan tapping Tinkerbell on the bottom, and you can see that there's a lot of pixie dust. It's falling downward. So this is just a really good idea of what pixie dust can look like, the sparkles. This one, the pixie dust is
Never thought about it before. So
exploding.
I knew it was your shadow the minute. Sure.
That one's exploding like a firework. And I didn't want to play it too long because I would get this one jumped off of YouTube if I played it too long. So so there's a lot of pixie dust. There's a lot of Tinkerbell right there at the top of it. This one's really great. And so there's pixie dust that's moving in both directions. There's also a really great one here, where it shows you just the pencil test.
Oh, wow.
And so I will put that in the chat just for you right now.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I will put that one in the class as well, in the discussion area. Now remember, and this is for everybody, not just you, Enzo, is that in this example, the pixie dust comes in and it's more like a stream of water, and then it starts to fall. So it doesn't act like the true magic that I was talking about when we introduced that topic that day.
Yeah, I noticed that it was more like it did flow, have this flowiness to it. That was, I thought was
But it's like one of the first times, I think that was 1951. It was like one of the first times when the Disney studio was using pencils to create an effect that was a transition. She's going from Cinderella into the princess. So
yeah.
so that's pretty amazing. I believe that was 1951. Let me double check that. This is 1950. But I don't know if it was, I think it might have been released in 51. There's an official website for Cinderella. Yeah, 1950. I don't know why I thought 1951. 1950. So from that time, up until that time, special effects was really more environmental. It was more water, fire, smoke, that kind of thing. Torches. And so there was like one of the first times when they were experimenting with things that were more mystical, more magical. In Pinocchio, there's tons of water. There's tons of bubbles. In The Sword and the Stone, there's an unbelievable amount of bubbles in the kitchen sequence. It's like you just sit there and you're like, oh my God, this must have taken the animator a year just to do all these bubbles. So those two are out there. They're in the classroom. So let's start with fire. And from the link here, we can see that there are, I'm going to go back to the top. Let me grab this. and just do a really rough search. So this is a really good example of the different kinds of fire that you can do just in terms of stylistic.
Are you supposed to be screen sharing? Because you're not screen
Yeah,
sharing right now.
probably. I'm just leaving you in the dark.
Oh, okay.
So this one it's showing you just different volumes. Here's a thin one, a medium. Here the fire is moving a little faster. There's a ground fire, but these are torches, and then this is kind of like a campfire. And remember our discussion when we were talking about fire was that fire can really be any color. It depends on whatever is burning. This is a really interesting little thing right here. Let me just kind of see if I can open this in another tab. And it's not going to let me. Come on, stop it.
I have a
too
book
far.
actually.
What's that?
I have a book actually that I got a while ago that has all the different special effects in it, like water and fire, and
Is it
has the images.
I can't think of his name.
I don't know who wrote it. The one I have is
It's
just
called
one. It's all.
Elemental Magic.
No, the one I have is all in Japanese, so all I can
Oh,
really
really?
do is use the images. Yeah, I can't really read any of it.
Let me do this. One of the reasons why I was the one who was teaching the special effects class is because I was special effects on James and the Giant Peach. But the book that I used to
You mean the stop motion one?
yeah, but I did the 2D special effects. So by Joseph Gilland. So this book right here, it's a really great book. It talks about all kinds of different fire, water, mist, smoke, all kinds of different effects. And he was a special effects animator for Disney for many, many years. I believe he's now running the animation department at the Vancouver Film School. He was my supervisor on James and the Giant Peach. He's just a really great guy. Joe Gilland is just amazing. But the really cool thing about this book is that it does talk about the effects and how to do them, but it also talks about art. It just talks about how looking at trees and taking those trees to your design board and how to draw, how to see the thing you're drawing and then how to draw that. And then he translates that into whatever effect you're working on. So yeah, this is a really wonderful book just to have in terms of art. A lot of times when you buy an animation book and the text, it's like, I don't want to read this because you're a visual learner and you just kind of want the author to show you how to do it. So if you have an extra 20 or 30 bucks, you can find this used somewhere. And there's volume 1 and volume 2. These are great books. Absolutely wonderful. All right, so when we were looking at the board, I think I clicked away from it. Well, now I'm just scrolling and seeing, because there's, in my effects class, I kind of start with just a campfire. But in that class, what I do is I have them copy and paste the fire into a whole bunch of different ranges, and we use the fire in a volcano shot. So this is the one that I was looking at right here. And again, you're all invited to see this board. This is a really great concept right here. This idea of, I see now, I don't know why it's not letting me to open this in a different tab, because I want to keep this, but well, just let me show you. So this shows you like the main volume of fire on the bottom as a sphere. And then the arrows direct that it's going to go up and to the left, up and to the right. And so it wiggles left and right. And this is a really wonderful concept to really dig your teeth into when you're doing fire. You know, just looking at this drawing all by itself, it gives you an indication that that's absolutely the way fire works. It's fluid, it's moving through the air. And again, I think that with this is a Joe Gillen drawing, except that it's from a foreign country. But it's ripped off from his book. But you can see that what I was talking about in class about this node right here. See this little node, this little hook? Well, it animates up here. And this one animates into this position. It's just that Joe's taking it to a left and a right position. So that's really great. This one's really simple. There might be 8 drawings in that one. This one's really simple. It's kind of like a exaggerated torch. This one's more complicated. You can see this one's more, it got a lot more detail. There's 3 different regions burning in there. And so this one, it's nice, but it's a little more complicated. This is nice. This little cartoon fire right here. And so when I click on that, you can see that I'm getting a lot of fire in the same range. So what I can do is just demo quickly enough by starting a new file, 1280 by 720. Okay, where'd my other tab go? That was weird. That was weird. Hold on one second. All right. So just really quickly. I'm gonna bring that into frame. I'm gonna go to my pencil tool. I'm gonna tab over and take a look at whatever I want to look at. You know, you look at an example like this, and this example has 12 frames in it. And so, and they're not numbered. You could just kind of see that the fire progresses upwards, right? So again, from my effects board, this one's got 12, this one's got 16, and they all work. But I think that what I would like to do is find one that just has 6 or 8, because you can do fire with just 6 or 8 positions. And making sure that the shapes look good. This one's interesting, but it looks like it grows and then it extinguishes itself. So let me see what. It's not giving me a good cross reference, but that's okay. All right, let's take our chance with this puppy right here. Yeah, I use this one sometimes. Make the Academy people really work for it. No, this one is good here. Let's kind of look at this one. This has got 9 drawings in it, and it just kind of really captures the idea of, let's say we're going to have an empty layer we're going to use. And so I'm halfway lost here because the PC version looks very different. Color, I'm looking for color. All right, so I'm going to use a blue. And I believe that this one's different because it doesn't have the color palette here. And you know, you might have seen me in class fumbling around with this because every time you hover the mouse over it, it changes color. So if we look at this, we're looking at 9 drawings. We're looking at a couple of different volumes. We're just gonna take it from the center point, and this is gonna be my layout here. So I'm just gonna take an oval shape, kind of emulating this, and I'm going to get another shape on top of it, and then another shape on top of it. And then we can do the embers. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put another one here. Just to break this up, I'm going to cut this. All right, so this is my layout. All right. All right, so now what I'm going to do is with a deeper blue, I'm just going to translate this first drawing on 2s just as a stronger keyframe. And I'm going to bypass the logs if that's okay with you, because I just want to cover this quickly. And embers. All right, so then I'm going to go to my add a drawing after, and I'm going to turn my onion skin on. It's already on. I don't think this is working as well as I would like. So I can't see the other drawing back there. You know, this could be one of those things where you have to draw before you see it. Yeah, it's not, the onion skin's not working. Yeah, it's not helping me. Okay, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this as my first keyframe, and I'm going to say this position, starting from this drawing, so this shape has to animate into this shape and then into this one. This is going to be a little different than the one we did in class, because I'm going to make this one a little bit, oops, hold on a second, a little bit more energetic. So I'm just going to add that one piece animating. And you know what? My onion skin is just refusing to work. All right, so I'm going to do this about halfway. And then let's see if we can do it with just like 6 drawings. All right, so right now I've only got 4 drawings. We might be able to just do it with just that many simple drawings. So I've got this shape animating into this shape. On this frame, what I'm going to do is animate this shape moving up. So I'm going to animate it up. And I remember that I asked you all to just kind of put that little timing thing out on the side, so that you knew just about how far. So I've got it to 8 frames right now. So that's just that first little clump animating. So we're just animating 4 different frames, which I think is fine, because a lot of times you'll be doing Fire for Games just as your start, and just to animating with 4 frames, I think is an interesting thing to do. All right, so let's get this. Let's just check. Hold on a second. Yeah, so you need to animate this one up. So this one's gonna go up and extinguish itself. So next one, up and extinguish, up and extinguish. And then test it. And but now let's go back to drawing number 1. And let's get this little part to rise. So it's gonna rise up. It's gonna rise up. It's gonna rise up. Now this is where I want to talk about, because we're talking about this little bit right here, and it goes up, goes up. In the last drawing, it goes up again. Keep your mouse right here, or just keep your eye right there, and then just get it right here. So we're going to add it to the first frame, and we're going to now animate it up, becoming an ember. We're just using the same drawings, but we're animating this thing over and over again. And you don't want to draw it going backwards, because then it'll look like it's going backwards. So just, if we had our onion skin, we'd be able to place these a little more carefully. Well, let's see, we got that little part working. So that's working. All right. Is this making sense? So it's, you know, I simplified it a lot. So let's remember we talked about the moving hold. So let's do this little bit of moving hold right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do it like that. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go to the next drawing, paste it. Go to the next drawing, paste it. Go to the next drawing, paste it. So that's not going to move. So the way I've got it right now, it's just sitting there, right? But at least now I know where it is. So then I can go here, first drawing, second drawing. So that means this little bit has to be going upwards. And the negative space has to be going upwards. This has to be going upwards. Next drawing, upwards even further. Oops, hold on a second. And breaking away and up further. And the last drawing. Now I'm going to let it break away and it come back. And let's see if that animates correctly. Because that's new. That's the funky thing. So it's shaking around a little bit, but you get the idea. So with just 4 drawings, we got that to work. And so again, we're just using a very simple example. And instead of 9, we just used 4. And you can use as many as you think you can handle. We did not put the interior shapes like we did in class. All right, so here's the smoke. This is a different kind of smoke, but it's similar. In this one, I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 drawings. And you can see the timing up here. And you can see my layout underneath it. I'll turn the layout up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to turn it back down. So what I did here is we were animating from this node into this node, which becomes this node. And again, the smoke animates off the screen. And because we can't draw off the screen in Rough Animator, we just have to kind of estimate where it's going to go. So this little node, this little ball is moving from here to here. This one is moving from here to here, right? And then from here off the screen. And then these 2 nodes have to start somewhere. So hopefully if this one is not messed up, but it's also on 6s, I think. So those 16 drawings are on 6s. So once again, what I did is I drew the layout. This might be remembering that color. All right, so once again, on my layout, so this is just my layout. This is not, oh, hold on a second. So this is my layout, it's not moving. So what I did is I planned out a drawing that has a good look to it, and an upper node and a lower node. And this node right here, this ball is not animating into this position, it's animating into this position. It's following this arc right there. I don't know why my pen tool is not working. Oh, because I'm drawing on the wrong layer. Hold on a second. Okay. So does that make sense to you? That I'm going from this position on this ball over to this position, and then it gets bigger here, and then over here off the screen, it gets really big over here. Again, this ball is over here somewhere. It's inside the chimney, and it's going from here, following the arc, just the tangential arc on the bottom, going from here to here to here, and then off the screen. And so this one, I have drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then repeat. This is drawing number 1. This is drawing number 1. This is drawing number 1. Does that make sense? Yes. This is drawing number 1. This is drawing number 1. And you can see that I was working out my timing of going, originally having this be on 4. So it was 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, 21, 25, 29. And then 29 lasts for 29, 30, 31, and 32. But on this frame, we have 91 frames. So what I did is, instead of 4s, I straightened out the 6s. And I believe that what I did was copy and paste it so that it looped a little better. All right, so this one is different from the smoke that we did in class. It's similar, but it might be even a little easier to understand. And you can see here this little node coming out and coming into this position, right? See that? See it coming out and like moving down into this position? Okay, does that make sense? All right, and again, save, put away. Going back here, let's go back here. That there are tons of different smoke layouts of smoke that you can use. This one's going up, right? This smoke is like coming out of a volcano and there's no wind. So this one's just rising and it's very stylized. This smoke belongs to a bomb. We're not doing that. We're just doing like cycling smoke. Sometimes depends on my class over there at the academy that I'll use something like this, where it's a little bit more intermediate, because trying to follow all these arcs can be crazy. It can be really crazy to try to do that. All right, I'm going backwards in time here because this board is actually it follows the syllabus for that class. All right, so this is the good one, intermediate one too. But I'm looking for one specific one that I use all the time. And if I remember correctly, it's near the bottom. So California brown, bear with me here just for a moment. Yeah, we do lightning and all kinds of stuff in that class. Okay, this is the one that I like. So this artist is telling you, hey, don't do this. Yeah, smoke can do that, but this is the one that I just did for you. This is the one that I just animated for you because it's more complicated, it's more interesting, right? And I like this too, because it pushes it into this one. And this one is a really great one. If any of you are thinking about smoke and you want to do something a little different, maybe it's not related to the campfire that you're doing, this one is just like the one that we just did, but we can start with just lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this as a line. So on my layout, I'm just going to give myself a point of origin for the smoke. And I'm going to give myself just a shape to start with. And following through and following through again. So it's kind of looking like this, right? Again, this is just the layout. All right, and then in a different color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my arcs. This is animating into this position. This is animating into this position. It's speeding up. That's okay. We can make it as slow as we want. This is going to be my layout. I'm going to have an intermediate position. I can see that the next intermediate position is here and here. I'm going to make these key positions really strong. And then I'm going to put in quarter marks. Just to visually guide me. And then maybe just a real quick look at what the in-betweens might look like. And we're just doing one line. We're just animating one line of smoke. Let's go backwards. All right, so that's my layout. We're going to put this on force just to start with. We're going to take our layout, take it out to like 32 frames. And let's see what we got. On our layout, we've got drawing number one. This is drawing number one. This is drawing number one out here. This is drawing number one. This is drawing number one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drawings. So we have 8 drawings in this cycle. If I'm on fours, that means I'm going to need 32 drawings for the cycle. All right. So let's do the in-between first. In order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a drawing after. I'm going to go on this layer, so I'm drawing on the right layer. I'm going to pick the blue again. And my onion skin's not working, so I'm just going to have to go from the layout. So this arc goes to here for the in. So this is the in-between. And then this one goes to there. This one goes to here. So I'm just going to have to watch what's happening with this shape. See this shape right here? It's going to go down and up again, and then hit the arc of motion. And then it's got to connect to the chimney. All right, and then this one is moving. Oops, did I do too far? Yeah, I think this one's a little too far. Hold on a second. All right, so it's moving about 1.5 inches. All right, and now without my onion skin, it's going to be a little tricky for me to get the next level of in-betweens going because I just can't see them. This one, this drawing right here actually needs to be in this position out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to go to this frame. I'm going to add just a little thing that sets the key, right? You see that? It just sets the key. I'm going to add another drawing after, set the key. That sets the key. Add another drawing afterwards, and this is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to paste it here. And now I'm going to see if my onion skin my onion skin's not working. So if it was, I would see that drawing right here. I don't know why it's not working. All right, so let me see if I can nail this. So I'm going to start with the arc about right here on this drawing. Hold on a second. I believe I did not copy this. So let me copy this one from the layout. And again, we're just doing this rough with one line. As you would get the animation working, you can add a volume to this line. All right, that's our first keyframe. So nothing, nothing, and then the breakdown. So this one, this drawing is going to move that far. And it's going to connect to the chimney. It's going to move about 1/2 inch. So I can just estimate it that it's going to move about 1/2 inch. To the right, follow the arc. And we could be a lot more precise with this if I could see where it was going. I should have done this in Toon Boom. That's okay. All right, and then this drawing, again, we can't see it, but we know that it's this position, right? This is our key, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This, wait, hold on a second. No, this position. So now it's moving about a full inch. Again, we're taking that tangent and we're moving it on the arc. We're making sure that it's progressing up and on the arc. So now we've got our first 4 drawings roughed in. We can see what they look like just by keying it. Oh, you know what? On the Mac, if you use your arrow keys, it goes key to key. All right, so that's working, right? You see it working? It's going halfway. So now we're going to do this drawing right here. We know what we're going to do. We're going to add this one to the layout, just like we did in class. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this drawing right here, and we're going to add it to the layout, some crazy, stupid violet color. And I'm sketching, I'm using the advantages of the vector tool, but I'm just trying to sketch it in there. I'm going to take the layout down just a little bit so it doesn't kill our aesthetic. All right, so now we're doing the drawing after it, right? So now I want to go back to our blue pencil, and we're going to do this one. So now after it, I'm going to get it to wiggle down here, and we'll get that wiggle to behave itself here in just a second. All right, so again, this is kind of what Patrick was asking about in class last week, just about doing in-betweens. All right, so we got 2 more drawings to do, right? You get that? We got 2 more drawings to do. 3 more drawings to do. All right, so now we're doing this drawing. And again, it would be much easier if we could see where the drawings were. And you might even be able to see that I'm doing it correctly because my hand isn't really making a mistake per se. All right, now we're going to do this drawing. Oops, wrong tool. All right, let's go back and look at this one and this one. So now we're doing this one. And we're about 1.5 inches from the purple. Again, it's very rough. And then one more. So now we have to get the drawing that we were working on into the blue. So we can go backwards. Right? Enzo, are you there? Enzo. All right, so what I'm doing with the last drawing is instead of going forwards, now I'm going backwards. So on this last drawing number 8, I'm just taking the drawing that I have for my in blue on my layout, and I'm just literally forcing it backwards. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because my onion skin is totally misbehaving. There you are.
Yeah.
All right, so I was
Really,
just saying that instead of trying to figure out what this drawing, which is right here, goes into this drawing, which I'm doing now, which goes into this one, I'm just going backwards. So I'm taking the blue line from the layout and just going backwards. And I can tell that I'm going to have to repair this just a little bit. Let's see what it looks like right now. So it's working just with that little bit. Let me turn the layout off. So this is another way to do smoke. And this is probably a more interesting way to do it because just with 8 drawings that are on 4s with a 32 frame cycle, it's the same thing. Now, if you wanted to go into the layout and say, oh, well, I've got the main, come on, you stupid thing. So now on the layout, if you were just going to say, instead of this blue, that maybe you wanted to go back and look at a volume, that you can add a second layer to it. You can add a bottom to it, or you can add little clumps of smoke. Let me do that in a completely different color. So like if we're following the example, we could say, and I'm going to break the law and switch over. And you would do the same thing here by animating a second line. So I'm just adding like a little bit of volume, which some of it's already there. And then you would animate that other line. So that's another great way to do fire. And again, I can't bring this one to class because it refuses to go from a Mac to a PC. Also, this application is just refuses to work sometimes. It's like really clunky. All right, let's take one more look at it. All right, so that one makes sense just for 8 drawings on 4s, 32 frame total, and you get it to work. It's a really great way of understanding how the lines animate smoothly and cleanly. And then from my list, so let me save this, put it away. Billy B. Smoke. All right, from my list, oh, flag. So yeah, I know I did that one really quickly at the end of class last week. Let me actually see if I can find. This is a different drive. Uh-oh. Now we're looking at something completely different. Tornado flag. Flag. This is Toon Boom. So I'm going to open up Toon Boom. And I haven't looked at this file since 2018, so bear with me for a second. Oh, might have a problem with my. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. Hold on. And it looks like my Harmony is not being happy right now. So let me. Let me just redo it in Rough Animator. All right, are you okay, Enzo?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so from my list, I was thinking that I wanted to do a water splash, but because of the school closings, I don't know. I'll have to think about it because I want to get to the walk cycle after spring break. All right, so so that the proper way to do this is to add a layer, an empty layer. This one's going to just be the background. This one's gonna be the layout. For the layout, we're gonna take this. Hold on a second, we're gonna take the background out 16 frames. On the background, we're just gonna draw our flagpole. So a flagpole. I think that it's best, and I don't think that this is in my effects board anywhere. I think that if you wanted to find a really good flag, you're just going to do a Google image search for 2D animation flag. I think I did this last week, 2 weeks ago, actually. No, last week. So this one is a good one. And one of the reasons why I like this one is because there's only 6 drawings. You're going from, actually there's only 4 drawings. You're going from key, these 2 are the same keys. But I do not like, and for anyone watching this, I do not like the one flag in particular where the edge of the flag doesn't move. This is a good one. This is the one we used in class because this one is from the textbook I recommended for the class. So I'll just leave that sit there. This is as big as we can get it. So, and I'll try to go a little bit slower because last week we were running out of time. So on the background layer, and I don't like this blue, I'm gonna make it a little brighter. I'm gonna give myself the flagpole. So right about here, I'm just gonna say flagpole and testing. Nope, we still do not have. And it's not Command Zing for me either. Damn. And Toon Boom's not working. Pretty funny that the only way to get rid of something is to highlight it and drag it off the stage. All right, so give myself a flagpole. And aesthetically, it would be better if I had the ability to hold the shift key to make this a perfectly straight line. As it is, it's a little funky. If you could make it a straight line, that would be awesome. But I don't have that function here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep this. This is my flagpole.
Billy?
Yeah.
There is a function, I think if you go, there should be, oh, I see at the bottom, you see the squiggly line at the bottom, right next to draw in front, right there. You click on that, and then there's a function for a straight line.
Okay. So let me get rid of these. And I might have to oh no, that's good. Okay, good. On the background layer, back to pencil, back to squiggly line. This is gonna be the layout. So here we're just gonna call this the layout layer. On the layout layer, I think what I'd like to do actually, because we're gonna turn this off, is copy and paste our flagpole here. I'm going to extend this out to the duration of the shot. On the layout, I'm going to move the layout underneath the background. On the layout layer, I'm going to look at this flag. So it's got a couple of curves. It's got a width and a height, and I wanted to put a grommet here. And I wanted to put a grommet here. And I also wanted to put a moving hold here. Oh, it just won't go Command Z. So I'm going to put this, and I'm going to give myself a new layer. I'm gonna put this layer on top. It's gonna be the flag layer. This is gonna be on twos. So this shape right here, I'm gonna grab it from the background. Did I put it on the background? Hold on. Oh yeah, I put it on the layout layer. So I'm gonna grab it from the layout layer. I'm gonna paste it in the flag layer. I'm gonna put a drawing after. Paste it. I don't think my pasting is working. But we'll see. Add a drawing after. Oh, it's not working. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna redraw this as a moving hold. So just right here on the second frame, there's nothing there. I can see that there's nothing there because it's the lighter gray color, right? So now I'm just gonna take my pencil tool and do a moving hold, but I'm gonna trace this line back just as carefully as I can for each new frame. And you don't have to do it exactly like this, but sometimes it makes sense to do the easier stuff first. And also this establishes the keys. All right, so before I do anything else, what I'd like to do is count the frames in our example. All right, so now this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drawings. If those are on twos, that would be 12 frames. 6 drawings on threes would be 18. I think that the example I did in class only had 5, but let's use the example that we have right here. So I'm going to have 6 drawings on twos, which is 12 frames. And right now I've got a couple too many drawings. So I don't think that this should be on threes or fours. I think the wind is moving at about 15 miles an hour. You know, we didn't talk about that last week because that's the speed that the flag has a good ripple in it. But it's not moving really fast because a really, really, really fast wind would make the flag just really straight. And it's not moving really slowly because then the flag would be more limp. But this is the example of the one I hate because this wind is moving at about 15 miles an hour, but all the edges of the flag are in the same place. No, wrong, impossible. Same thing, right? This one and this one should be banned from the internet. And this one's way too complicated. You know, you can try it if you want, but I would recommend just using the one we were doing. All right, so we've got 6 drawings on twos, which is 12 frames. So let me get rid of this. All right, so now we're at 12 frames. With this, let's see if I can just kill this. All right, that's the layout living under there. Oops, 12 frames. 6 drawings on twos is 12 frames. All right, so so these guys that are living over here are gonna screw up our ability to render this. Some of you are using different applications. What we're gonna end up seeing is a jump in our animation. Let me see if I can erase it. Oh, that might work. I really don't want those two frames there. I didn't know I was gonna get into trouble with that. You know, before I do anything else, I think what I wanna do is I'm just gonna copy this. Yeah, it's not letting me copy and paste. All right, so I'm just gonna redo this because if your classmates are actually gonna watch this one, then I want this to be fairly clean. So let me just take a minute. It's unbelievable. It's like there's way too many things to try to contend with. All right. Get that little wrinkle in there. The layout, different color. So the arcs, everything is moves, the waves move on an arc in a completely different color. We talked about this a little bit 2 weeks ago, that this tip is going to move and this tip is going to move. And we planned out the number of drawings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 positions. This is position 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going counterclockwise. So let's have this one go clockwise. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, this is just the layout. All right, so what we've done is we've just copied the main first key here. And this example is a good example because it's showing you how to do the main in between. So for us, we're gonna take our layout. This is 6 on 2 is 12, so we need 12 frames. Layout is 12 frames. Flag is 2 frames. Background. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to copy the flag pole itself. Okay. Now on the flag layer, the first thing we're going to do is copy the grommets as a moving hold. So just on the flag layer, copy the grommets. And you do want those little grommets to kind of wiggle around a little bit. Moving hold. Okie dokie. Let's go back to the first frame and do the moving hold on this part of the flag. All right, nothing's moving yet. Let's go back to our layout and let's figure a couple of things out. Let's go green with this one. All right, so this is our node. We're on the layout. This is a node. This is our node. This is the down tangential part of the node. On here, there's a node over here. We can't see it yet. And over here, and I believe we did this last week too, that if we continue this out, that there's a node about right here. So we're going to measure this. And we're going to measure this because we want those to be about the same. That depicts the speed of the wind. So this one is really clear. And I think that this one might be a little too far. So we're going to copy this distance here and just kind of erase that one. So this, we don't know what drawing number this is yet. And we don't know what drawing numbers these are yet either, but that's okay. We could say that this is drawing number 1 and that this is drawing number 1, which I think would be fine as long as you're okay with that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawings to get from 1 to 1 again. So really quickly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I made all of those distances equal distance as much as possible. And I drew them lightly at first until I'm convinced that that's the speed of the wind. And to me, that looks like about 3/8 of an inch. I can continue my timing out this way and just copy these guys out here. And I could actually put numbers on there. This is, if it's going to be on 2s, then this is drawing 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 12. This is drawing 3, 5, 7. This is drawing 1, and the same timing down here. Lightly at first, just to make sure you don't mess it up. 5 drawings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good, that works. And the numbers 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Continuing out, this would be drawing 3. Continuing backwards, this is drawing 11. This is drawing 9. This is position 7. And remember that the green is supposed to be on top of the purple, but I just can't, I don't want to put it there because I want to be able to see the arc. All right, and then the same thing goes with our little crease. So if this is drawing 1, then the timing is the same for the crease. So I could just put the timings for the crease in there, forwards and backwards. This is drawing 1, 3, 5, 7, it's at the edge, going backwards, 11, 9, oops, that went away, that's weird, 7, 5, 3, and 1 again, which is right on the edge, which is fine. All right, so does this make sense? Make sure everything's on the layout. Good, right? Nothing's moving yet. We have our moving hold set. Let's copy the first flag onto the keyframe. So key number 1, drawing. So let's just copy this. And I believe in class that I did the edge of the flag last. And the crease. All right, and then because we don't have onion skin, we're gonna have to do the exact same thing here. I'm gonna take this, copy it from the flag layer, and see if I can paste it in place. Hold on a second. Okay, we're okay, except for this is weird. All right, let's just make sure that that copied correctly. God damn it, this stupid thing. All right, yeah, for some reason it didn't take the first one. All right, and it also, all right, the flag is there, the layout's there. All right, so ideally, if we've got drawing number 7 is right in the middle, if you can see that, and then if we can get 7 in the right place and draw and copy it to the layout, then we're more likely to get the 3 and 5 and 9 and 11 positions correctly. So, but because our onion skin is refusing to work right here, we have to know that this is drawing 1, 3, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. So we're going to go to drawing 7, and we're going to actually do this one in a different color. We're going to pick something more in the magenta range, and we're going to look at this. So this node, it should be right here on 7, and then 7 is out here, right? 1, 3, 5, 7 is right there. So this little node is going to go this way, and it has to connect back to the grommet, no matter what. All right, then we're going to leave this one. This is drawing 7. Sorry, we should have renumbered these on the layout. So 1, 3, 5, 7. So this one is going to be right here. The third position is actually drawing 7. So the same thing here, drawing 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. So this down pointing node is going to be here. And then this is in the 9 position, so it's going to be like this. Again, I think that what we can do for this intermediate breakdown position is understand that it's moving about that far, about 1.5 inches. So this little node right here is going to move to about right there. This one is going to move to there. And then again, it has to go back to the grommet. All right, and then because this is our distance for the main breakdown, that this crease is going to move out to 1, 3, 5, 7. It's going to be right on the edge. We don't have to worry about the crease right here. 1, 3, 5, 7. So this edge is going to be right there. And again, we'll do the edge of the flag last. All right, so what I want to do is I want to jump down to the layout layer and copy this in the same purple. And we're just going to use that as our onion skin. Kind of an old time cheat, actually. All right, and again, we'll do the tip of the flag last. Now we're going to go to drawing number 3, and we're going to use a slightly different color. Let's go back to the blue range. So 1, 3, 5. So you have 2 drawings to get in between these two. So now we're going forward again. So this little node is moving a little bit forward. So let's just start with this node because we can see it, and it's moving that far. This little node is moving about this far, and it's going to come up across that line and go back to the grommet. All right, and then this blue line is moving to the right just a little bit. We're on drawing number 2, so the tip of the flag is going to point right to about right there. Oops, I just screwed up that line. Hold on a second. All right, same thing. We're going to take this one and move it out to the 3 position. We're going to take this and move it out to the 3 position, connect it back to the grommet. This is going to move about 1/4 inch, and it's going to point towards the tip of the flag where it's in the 2nd position. All right, so now we'll do 5. So 5 is going to be moving into this position, so it's moving a little further. And technically, you can in between this position to this position because we know it's the breakdown position. Breakdowns are always in the middle. All right, so this is going to go to the, oh God, I'm drawing on the wrong layer, on the wrong frame. Sorry. This is our 5 position. Sorry about that. This is going to look a little funky. It's gonna have a bunch of messy lines in there just for the rough. All right, so this is the third one. 1, 2, 3. All right, and then this one. 1, 2, 3. This is drawing number 5. Uh, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to go here. All right, and then let's see what our frames look like just right now. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm touching right here. It's not behaving. All right, so that's 7. Let's turn off our layout just for a second. Let's play this. All right, so the first part of the flag is working. You can tell that the wiggle is going the right way. This is 7, it's there. So now we got to get from that position in 2 drawings back to our first drawing. So this is 7. 7 is our purple position. Let's pick a new obnoxious orange color to go from 7, which is the orange or the purple, back into the blue. We need 2 drawings, 9 and 11. So this is 9, drawing number 9. So we're gonna start right there, and we're gonna go back to the grommet. This is gonna move over a little bit, and 9 is the 2, 3, 4, 5 position. So that's gonna go down here. Just connect it right to that arc. All right, so now this is the 9 position. So we're going here. 9 position. And again, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to the 5 position on the edge of the flag, the tip of the flag. And now we're going to go backwards. For this drawing, we're going to do the same thing that we did with our other example with the smoke. So what we're going to do is we need this 11 position. So we're just going to go right there. We're going to go right here with this. We're going backwards. So this is the last position, which is right here. Right? That's our 6th drawing. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 6th position. We're going to go right here. All right, and so we're going backwards. All right, and backwards. And backwards. And backwards. And backwards. And 6. This is our 6th drawing. Connect these 2. Turn our layout down. Play it. And it looks like we did not make any kind of mistake. I can still see messy things in there. But let's now look at the tip of the flag, frame by frame. So I'm going to turn my background back up. It's okay. So now what we got to do is we connect this. Let's turn our layout back on just so we can see kind of where the arc was. All right, so this is the 3, which is the 2nd drawing, and this was going counterclockwise. And I think we might have made a mistake, or I might have made a mistake with the direction here. So I'm going to fix that right now. I'm going to have it go to, because this was going counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So this is the 2nd position. And this is the 2nd position. So now I'm just going to connect those. And with this one, I'm going to remember that the crease is moving about this far to the right. All right, and then this is our third drawing, 1, 2, 3, that's in the right place. 1, 2, 3, so this is in the right place. So just make it look like a good flag. Let's go back to our example. In the third drawing, it starts to curl over a little bit. If you were thinking about it, you could put like a little curl over right there. Bring this up a little bit, move the crease out. I have to draw the whole thing, just a little bit of it. All right, now this is our 7 drawing, which is the drawing number 4. That goes to here, drawing number 4. All right, so now what we could do is make a comment about how things move in animation. And that is that in this previous drawing, we had a flip over here, and you could see the underside. You don't want things to pop, so have that be for 2 frames. Even if it's just gonna make it look like the tip of the flag is a little too long, it'll look better. All right, then the second to the last drawing, which is drawing 5 here, that's correct. This is drawing 5, that's correct. It's looking a little skinny right there, so I'm gonna cheat this up a little bit. And our last drawing, it's just to get into the first drawing. So just connect these 2 shapes. Play it, see what it looks like. Let's turn our layout down a little bit more. All right, so that looks fine. In order to make it look like it's really, truly moving correctly, we've got to get this crease into the early positions. So let's just test it. It's moving forward. It's moving forward. Oh, it's moving backwards on this one. So let's kill this and go back to here. So we saw it was here. So maybe just a little bit in this position. And I don't think there's one here, but on the layout, we had determined that this was the breakdown timing, and that this was the frame by frame on 2's timing. So from this position here, we can indicate that there should be a crease starting about right there on the second drawing. Right about there, just a little one. Go out to the next drawing, make it a little bit more pronounced. Next drawing, make it a little bit more pronounced. This drawing, and it's right here. A lot more pronounced. Okay, let's see if we got it moving the right way. All right, let's turn our layout off. So that's the main motion of the flag. It's really rough. You want to put a clean line on top of it. But I can see that the edge of the flag, the tips of the corners are actually moving on that arc. That's good. We've got that little wave moving on the top. We've got the wave moving on the bottom. This is a moving hold. That's good. So that's basically your flag. You know, it's a little rough. It would look better if I could do this in Toon Boom. And if I'm looking at this, I might even make like a red color or a correction and say, hey, this is looking a little strange right here for, it doesn't even matter what drawing it is, but it's looking a little skimpy out here. So I'm going to add this amount of volume. And then I'm going to go frame by frame to see what we've got. So this was rolling over right here. And I think that what I'd like to do is have it roll over just a little bit more so that it doesn't pop as much. frame by frame. Crease, 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 crease. This is the messy one. So we have to determine which ones to erase here. All right, I'm just going frame by frame to study it. This is looking a little skimpy right here, so that's the very last drawing. So let's go frame by frame again. I think this is okay. And what I think that I want to do is I want to make a line like this. That's just kind of a double line. We see this in the example right here. Well, let's just see what it looks like at speed. So that's the basics of the flag. That's the same thing I did last week, but slower and sloppier because the tool is not exactly behaving the right way. All right, does that make sense? Did I help you a little bit? All right, so for the, yes, go ahead.
I'm wondering if you can look over my some of the submissions.
Sure. So I'm gonna pause the recording.
Okay. Of
All
what
right, that's
your
fine.
critique then.
All right,
and
so which one do you want me to look at first? You're muted.
Any of them is fine.
Your pixie dust is okay?
It should be, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just take a look at it though. You got 20 out of 25. A GIF. Yeah, so my comment was that I would like you to add more variety of shapes.
That one isn't mine.
Oh, it's not? I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry. MP4. All right, can you see that? You're muted.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can see it, okay. All right, so I the same critique as before. What I think that you need on your pixie dust is a wider splay, a wider dispersion of pixie dust, maybe a couple of dots before. And then you need to get it to all if this is the last frame of the, so all of these have to fall off, and that's consistent, which is what I was saying in class. So yeah, you started this is great, but now you got to take these frames here and have the pixie dust fall off the screen.
Okay.
All right, fire. All right, so I'm just going to put my cursor right here. Can you see
That
my
one isn't
cursor?
mine either. I don't know if you
Oh,
intended
it's
to
not.
do
I'm
mine.
sorry.
Yeah.
It keeps doing it out of order. We're in order. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
all right. So this one was good. I haven't graded the fire yet. Yeah, so this
I
is
got
working.
my smoke and the flag submitted. I was hoping you could critique
Yep.
that maybe.
All right, so this is good. And I think the one comment that I made was that it looks strikingly like the example.
Yeah.
And in the industry, you just want to make sure that you're making it your own. So this is
Okay.
good. Lauren, that looks pretty good. Looks really good, Lauren. All right, and I like what you're doing, but I think that you've got a real heavy bit of smoke right here. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah, I can see it.
So you've got this amount of smoke creating, this fire creating that amount of smoke. I think that what you've done is because you've put it on the stage really close to the edge of the screen, you've limited how much smoke you're actually animating and drawing because it's so close to the edge. So you've let the edge of the paper determine how much smoke you're animating.
It
I
was
think
hard
it-
on Rough Animator to determine where I was. Like I thought I was in the middle, and when I came up, I thought I wasn't. It looked like it was in the middle, but
What app
but
are you using?
Rough Animator.
Does Rough Animator work for you?
It works for me. Sometimes it's hard to tell where the edge of the which is kind of why I made some mistakes like that. But
I think that you've got a volume of smoke here that just kind of doesn't go anywhere. It goes away a little too quickly. I think that you should try to get it to move up and not be so sparse right up near the edge of this. I also think that and this might be impossible for you to do, but in Rough Animator, if you could imagine taking a second layout and saying, okay, I'm going to move my entire fire down 1.5 inches, and then take all of your smoke and move them down 1.5 inches to give you more room at the top.
I would hope that that would be possible. I mean, it would not work if I did like frame by frame because then it would all end up kind of shaky.
I know, but you might
So
be able to do it this way. So this is, I'm going to save this and put it away, right? Billy B, fire. Put it away. I'm going to open a new project. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to say file, import video, and I'm going to go to my desktop. And I'm going to find, you called it EK,
yeah,
MP4, and it's going to import. So you've already done this, right? And instead
I've
of
done
trying
this before. Yeah.
instead of trying to do it, no, I don't know if it's going to let me.
The thing is, when I've tried this and it will download the whole thing pretty seamlessly, but it won't
Reposition it.
no, you can reposition it. It's just you can't separate the fire from the smoke. So I guess I could submit an individual
Well, what I
an
was saying was
individual
that if Rough Animator allowed you to reposition the MP4, then it wouldn't matter because then you could very quickly trace it and just do a
I
new
see.
one.
I see.
You could do a new one. But
Oh, I see now. Okay.
but what might make more sense is that if you just very carefully drew vertical lines and a horizontal line so you knew exactly how far you were moving each one of these down, then yeah, do it frame by frame. However many, 12 drawings or 14 drawings, however many it is, and move it down to give yourself more room at the top.
Okay.
Fire is working. I think that little blur, that little glow you've got on it is good.
Yeah, I found a way to do that on Rough Animator. That was pretty cool.
It's a little bit inconceivable that you've got the embers going away so quickly. I mean, think about it. You've got a medium-sized fire going into a little bit lesser medium, and then medium small, and then small, and then they disappear. I think that the embers should continue up
Okay.
a good inch or so, and then I think you just need more smoke. And I
Okay.
think that your smoke looks like it's moving too fast. So I think that what we might have talked about in class is the idea of taking the fire, which you know now is done. You've got how many drawings? 8 drawings with the fire?
8, yeah. Yeah, 8 drawings.
And it's on 2s. So if you can possibly take the 8 drawings onto 16 frames of the fire and copy and paste it at least twice in the timeline. So now you've got 32 frames of fire. and now do 32 frames of smoke, but do it on 4s. So just do the smoke on 4s, 8 drawings on 4s. And then it'll be a nice contrast in motion.
Okay.
Okay. And then flag.
Yeah. Oh, that one's not mine.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's working okay. Yeah, it's working okay. Get the grommets and the moving hold in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's working okay. Give you I tend to give you full points for that one.
All right.
All right. Anything else? This ends up becoming a really strange thing for us because last week was week 9. Well, we were canceled, and this is week 10, and next week is spring break. So I don't see you next week. I get to run all over San Francisco and collect Pokemon.
Sounds like fun.
Or send out emails that I've been dreading to send. So we don't see you for 2 weeks. All right, I will post this on YouTube and put the link in the classroom.
Okay.
If your classmates contact you, just remind them that I've added 2 Pinterest tags to the discussion area.
Okay.
There's always some good stuff in there.
Do you know a whole lot about character design?
I do.
Okay.
I designed characters for Ferngully 2, The Magical Rescue. I designed characters for a couple of projects at the Academy, and my own cartoon, Racket in the Attic.
Oh, you made that yourself?
Yeah, and
Oh, wow.
my MFA film, Baker Bob. So there's, your first step with that is to really study the storyboard board on Pinterest, because
Okay.
it's just loaded with character designs.
Okay.
The other thing is that in a wider sense of critique, or a wider sense of where to start that critique, the ideal thing would be is say, what are you shooting for? Are you shooting something that's very Disney oriented, or 20th Century Fox, or Blue Sky? And then, pick a film like The Iron Giant, or a TV show like Bugs Bunny, and say, what are your top 3 favorite character designs, and then go find who the designers were for that character or characters. And you can find that fairly easy on Internet Movie Database.
Okay.
You're going to find that under a couple of different things. It's not always so clear, or it's not going to say character design. It might say concept design.
Mm-hmm.
It might say pre-production. It might say a whole bunch of different things, but it's not going to say animator. It's not going to say sound or Foley's. You have to look through the credits kind of carefully to figure out who it was. When we were at the Academy or at AI, I would always carry around the making of books from Pixar. Have you seen those?
I haven't seen the ones from Pixar, but I actually have 3 of my own from other movies.
So that's a perfect thing. So if you look at Finding Nemo,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see that it's full of designs that weren't used for the movie. And
Yeah,
you
there's so many
see-
designs that they don't end up using.
But they're wonderful. You see Lou Romano, you see Carter Goodrich, Victor De Laurentiis. There's a whole bunch of them that just were submissions for the character designs, and they're awesome. It's just the studio had to pick one,
Yeah.
but that's like the best thing you could do is find those books that are making of, and I've given a whole bunch of books to Kenyatta, but
Mhm.
those books, the making of, those are the ones I'm keeping because they're
Okay.
just a treasure. Once you look for one on Amazon, it's going to recommend all the other ones to you. Or
Mm.
pick your favorite movie, like the making of Luca,
Mhm.
or the making of whatever film that you gravitate towards, Moana.
Yeah.
And you're just going to see the thought process of going from really wild and avant-garde or things that were beautiful but never didn't really make it in the film, all the way through different designers, and then page by page you're going to start seeing those same names in every one of the other books, and then you know that those are the top designers. Chris Sanders, his stuff is amazing. You think that he did the stuff for Lilo and Stitch, but then he did it for How to Train Your Dragon. It's like, oh, and the How to Train Your Dragon making of, it's like one of my favorite books because all of a sudden you had all these mythological creatures where you had Gia monsters and some animals here in the 21st century, but you got to put wings on them and you got to put personalities and like rows and rows of teeth and rows of eyes, so that's always a wonderful path, is to go see who a studio like Pixar is relying on for their character ideation. Go every single time, they might not make it to the final design, but they're the ones to go to. I know for a fact that they used a bunch of in-house people for The Nightmare Before Christmas. Henry relied not only on himself, but Mike Cochuela, Bill Bowes, Tim Burton for a lot of the original character designs. And I have one of those sheets that shows like the original, and they're very interesting. But then they switched when they were going to do James. They used a children's book illustrator. His name is Lane Smith, and he did the real story of the Three Little Pigs. He did a bunch of kids books, but they're not for really young kids. They're more for 9-10-year-olds, and they're different. They're really kind of quirky, kind of Neil Gaiman looking. So once you start going down that road, that visual search road, you'll see that the only thing you have to make sure is that you're steering the boat the way you want it to go. That you're making sure that you want to go crazy, or do you want to go middle of the road? Go avant-garde, or you want to do safe?
I've had some character designs already. I have a kind of a story about a goat, or part goat. So I'm kind of working on character designs for that. So
Yeah.
And I guess another thing to put in is whether you're gonna do 2D or 3D, right? Because
Right.
like Finding Nemo is like 3D, right? But then like Klaus is like 2D. So like the artwork would ultimately
But be careful,
look.
because Klaus is a beautiful mixture of both.
Oh, really?
Almost all of the reindeer were 3D.
Oh, really?
And the 2D was actually in TV Paint, but they did the in-betweens like like you would do Maya. Like you would just say, okay, now let the computer do the in-betweens.
Oh.
And so when you're looking at it, like in Klaus, I can't remember the character who's the boatman. His boat was 3D.
Oh.
And you just have to kind of look through it and go, what is 2D? What is 3D? The whole thing looks like it's airbrushed, and a significant portion of the animation is done with the stylus in TV Paint. Take a look at the character design by Tom Moore for Wolfwalkers.
Oh, I'm dying to see that movie.
It's completely, perfectly awesome. Song of the Sea. Again, that's Cartoon Saloon, Tom Moore out of Kilkenny, Ireland. And then The Secret of Kells.
Hmm.
That's like
You
the,
mentioned Fern Gully. I guess I've never heard of it. What is it about exactly?
the original one was done by Fox Entertainment, I believe. And it was a story about deforestation.
Oh.
And the characters, the fairies, and Batty, played by Robin Williams,
Oh yeah, from the little character you showed us in the
were
past.
trying to stop. Well, the ones I showed you were from Fern Gully 2. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
one I worked on where the bad guys were trying to steal the animals from the rainforest, and the animals are trying to stop them.
Oh.
And in the second one, they weren't trying to deforest; they were trying to steal the animals.
Mm.
So the story arc was, how do you get the bad guys to stop stealing the animals and return the animals to the rainforest?
Mm.
And I did all kinds of stuff on that movie. I did backgrounds, props, characters in the backgrounds, animation cycles, lots and lots of pre-production for the storyboards and show Bible. And then most of the animation was done in Taiwan. All of the animation was done in Taiwan. When
How do characters in the background differ from characters like in the foreground when you're animating them?
they're just silhouettes.
Okay.
They're just clumps of colors and very little details.
Okay.
And it takes just a little bit of a knack to not go too far with the design. You're like one line for the eyes. And if you
Mhm.
look on Internet Movie Database, I think Phil Robinson gave me credit for some character design, I think. I forget what he called it. Let me see what it was. He gave me credit for hey. Oh, here it is. Hey, did I put that there? Let me go back. Assistant prop designer.
Mm.
So he kind of lumped everything together with the BGs and the props and the characters in the background, which was fine for me. It was, I spent a year working on it. And where all the other people in Wild Brain Studio would have 3 weeks of work and then they were laid off for a little while and then 3 more weeks, I was working constantly. I had 3 kids and I couldn't turn down a steady gig. So even though some days were really boring or tedious or just not quite so glamorous, um, it was a nice steady paycheck for a solid year.
Nice.
So there you go.
All right.
All right, we won't see you next week.
Well, yeah, I'll see you the week after next.
Right. And I will make a determination at that point if if we have time and space to do a water splash.
Oh, okay.
Because water splashes are, because the thing about what we've been doing is we started with pixie dust, which is kind of wild and magic. And
Hmm.
I thought I was doing a really clear job of explaining how to do it, but some people didn't quite grasp the nuance of leaving a trail of dust, you know?
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing to do. And I was thinking that that's where we'll start in 2 weeks where I just want to review with some people that just to make it better,
Mhm.
and then go over fire, smoke, flag for everybody. And then taking a look at our calendar and saying that we've got, well, we might have time to do the water splash. Well, I'll make the determination at the end of the week when we're back.
Okay.
Because the way I do walk cycles, it's very mechanical and very procedural.
Okay.
Some animation teachers like to just start on the first frame and draw and draw and draw. But the
Mhm.
problem with that is that they've done it 100,000 times, and so they know where the overlapping action is going up and down and back and forward, and it's really, really easy to get confused, and it's really difficult to fix your mistakes. But the way I do it, it's very step by step by step. And if you do it, if you follow along with the way I do it, you're almost guaranteed to get the walk cycle to look good. The only problem is that if you do it step by step with me, everyone in the room's walk cycle looks like it's the same walk cycle. That's the only problem. And in past years, I've always said, okay, let's do it this way. Now you do your own. And everyone's like, what? What do you mean? We're not good enough to do our own. And then I was going to do a run cycle. And the run cycle is like, okay, now I'd go and say, here's drawing 1, here's drawing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Do it. And I do that run cycle like a regular animation teacher might do it. Instead, me, when I'm doing the walk cycle, it's more scientific.
When are walk cycles used in animation? Because I haven't seen very often in animation like a consistent amount of time a person just from the side walking.
Right. Well, a walk cycle is going to be used by an animation studio where the character is actually technically walking on a treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
And you do this with 8 distinct key drawings.
Okay.
Contact down, passing it up for the right foot, contact down, passing it up for the left foot, and that totals a total of 8 drawings. On 2s, it's 16 frames, and you do it in place so that your director can see what your character's walking like, with their attitude. They might ask the animator to do a side view and a front view. They might ask the animator to do a 3/4 view, which is much more difficult. But that gives the director a chance to really study how the walk cycle is working. Sometimes that's not used anywhere except for just studying it, because then you can take the 8 drawings and put them on the model sheet, and then the animators can figure out timing, spacing, percentage of up and down motion, forward lean, how far the foot bends, how far the wrist bends when they're interpreting for their own specific shot. And their own specific shot is determined by their storyboards. The character has to walk in, sit down on a chair. So they're going to use the walk cycle to study how that character walks in, turns, and sits down. Now in games, that's all you have is walk cycles and run cycles and idle cycles. So in the game company, you're going to do it in Maya, and you're going to be able to get 24 different views as a sprite sheet, and then just export as a sprite sheet, and you're done. You just animate basically 8 frames, 16, 8 keyframes, 16 in-betweens total, but you can put 24 positions on it and export an unlimited number of sprite sheets, and you're done. But that's why the animation in games always looks the same. You never have a sprint and a run and a fast run and a slow run or a jog, unless the game is really sophisticated. But yeah, you're right. In a typical animation sequence, in The Secret of Kells, you can see Saoirse walking and at the story, she's going to walk from position 1 to position 2, and the animator just has to animate all those drawings. But we use a walk cycle to study how the repeat works.
And then you can apply for different situations as various angles and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in the days just after the golden age of animation, like the Flintstones,
hmm
some Bugs Bunny, the late Bugs Bunny, a lot of the Hanna-Barbera, Magilla Gorilla, the Jetsons, you'll see a character running in place and the background just panning.
Yeah.
And you'll see that little drum roll there, like tick 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 with the sound. And
Mhm.
Fred is he's a held frame for his body, and his feet are going like this.
hmm
And the background is just panning behind him. And they do that for 6 seconds. So the limited animation meant that you had one background that you were panning.
hmm
It's just one piece of art that you keep repositioning.
hmm
And a second piece for the body, and then 2 or 3 positions for the legs. And you got away with doing maybe 8 pieces of art that lasted for 3 seconds. So instead of doing 72, 150 or more drawings for 3 seconds of animation, you just did 3 seconds of animation and you only needed 8 pieces of artwork.
Mm.
That's what the true definition of limited animation is.
Okay. And one more question.
Sure.
So you on one of your posters on the wall, I saw it mentioned appeal, and I was wondering what that meant.
In the principles of animation,
Yeah.
it means a couple of different things. The very first and short definition, is it cool?
Okay.
Does it look cool? The other answers to the definition are a little bit more theatrical.
Mhm.
Does it have a good silhouette? Does it have a good color combination? Does the facial expression match the mood of the story?
Mm.
And the appeal is based primarily on the target audience. So if your target audience is 8-year-old boys and 8-year-old girls, you're probably not going to want to have a scary face. But if something
Yeah.
scary happens, how do you make an appealing, scary face without terrifying your second graders?
hmm
So there's lots of nuance that goes into appeal.
Okay.
It also is one of the few principles of animation that has a definition for motion and then art as well. It crosses over. And story. Character design is about appeal. Story is about appeal. Music, the sound effects, the music, the sound effects, the Foley, all behind it, all play into appeal.
Okay.
Was it appealing? Was it cool? Was it interesting?
Okay.
I think that when you look at the character designs for anything that the Cartoon Saloon has done, it's astonishing. Again, that's The Secret of Kells, The Song of the Sea, Wolfwalkers, and then all the stuff in between. Because Noor Twomey, Tom Moore have been doing work for commercials and stuff. But they get the greatest look. Think of the word appeal while you're thinking of Klaus.
Okay.
And look at the backgrounds. It's like,
Mhm.
oh my God, these are so beautiful. I think I'm just going to go be an auto mechanic.
Like the shot where they're going into like whatever, like the city and all the smoke and all like kind of like and like just the way the buildings are made and the backgrounds are made. It's just really
It's so crazy beautiful.
mm.
Beautiful. Look at Pinocchio. The stop motion. It's like the same kind of thing. It's like there's an appeal in the backgrounds, the character designs, the way they walked. It won Academy Award and BAFTA and People's Choice Awards for the Golden Globe, and another one. It won 4 awards within the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
And all the people that I know who worked on it were like, they're filling up their social media with them holding the Oscar.
Oh.
Can I do this really quickly? No, maybe not. And let me see if I can do this quickly. Here, I'll prove it to you. When I was at the Art Institute, California, and San Francisco, our accreditation is based on whether our students got jobs or not.
Mhm.
And my director of student career services was furious. Good one. She was furious at me because I allowed my student, his name is Matt Zilla,
Mhm.
to concentrate on sculpting. And
Oh.
she was terrified because we did not have a sculpting major. We had a sculpting class, and he just kind of went with it. And I said,
Mhm.
well, I don't know what to tell you. His sculpts are beautiful. They're industry standard. And she was stomping around, and she was so mad at me. And she was gonna basically put it on me for him to get a job.
Oh
And
my God.
and he had showed up at the portfolio show with these Godzilla feet that he had
Mhm.
made,
Yeah.
and he was going to wear them. And Donna was just furious. She's like, "No, you can't wear those. This is a professional event." And she made him take off his shoes, and he only had his tennis shoes, so he had to run to Macy's to buy some leather shoes. And we were all furious because 2 weeks later he was working at Leica. 2 weeks later he was working on Coraline.
Whoa.
It was like, and so you know what? Screw you, Donna. Here, I'm going to put his Internet Movie Database
Okay.
tag in the chat.
Okay.
And then here he is.
Oh, that's that place. Okay.
With the awards that Pinocchio just won. It's like, okay, that works for me. And
Okay.
his social media was him just holding all the different awards, and all the people who worked on the film did the same thing. They all got to hold the Academy Award. And it's like, have you ever held an Oscar? So there you go. That's Matt Zilla. He worked on Coraline, Kubo,
Oh, I've seen Kubo's. Kubo's good.
Fox Trolls, Pinocchio, whole bunch of stuff. And what did he just tell me? Oh, he's working on I had to go through my text because he was whinging about Scotty Young. You know who Scotty Young is?
No, I do not.
He's a comic book illustrator, and he's a character designer.
Mm-hmm.
So just go to a image search window right now.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Google search and just type in Skotttie. It'll come right up. And he was mad because he was going to see Scotty Young at Portland Comic Con, but he disappeared, and he's really mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, he texted me so many times. I forget what he's working on. I forget. All right. Class dismissed.
All right.
We'll
Thank
see you-
you.
Oh, you're welcome. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
And
Bye.
again, I'm recording this. I'll post the YouTube link in the discussion area once it renders.
Okay.
It's gonna take about an hour and 20 minutes to render. And then it takes about another hour to upload it on the YouTube.
This takes so long.
With the difference being that if I were to show you any movies,
Mm-hmm.
they get banned or they get, it would not be allow me to put them on YouTube.
Mm.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you.
All right,
Bye.
ciao for now. Bye.